I haven't seen Evil Dead 2 yet. What would you think?
I'd think that you're a cinematic idiot, and I'd feel sorry for you.
All right. Why?
Because it's a brilliant film. It's so funny and violent, and the soundtrack kicks fucking ass. I never thought I'd say this, but can I go work now?
Welcome to another episode of What the Hell Did We Just Watch? I am your host, Lumotional Lou. This is the second episode of the year of 2017. So I'm just going to kick it off. One of the first things that I'm going to do is start a brand new segment. The very first episode of a segment that I call If I Would Have Done It. That's the name of the segment, the brand new segment. This is the third segment that What the Hell Did We Just Watch has created. The first one is the original What the Hell Did We Just Watch show, where I show people movies they've never seen. I'm pretty sure you guys figured that out already, that have been listening since day one, or even just started listening a little while ago. You already know the kind of motion how it goes. The second segment is called Real Talk Rant, REEL Talk Rant. Now, with that one is when people we just discuss. We don't watch anything, and we just discuss about our opinions, about how we feel that the movie industry is going, and how we feel about certain decisions movies are making, and things like that. For anybody that likes talking about that, that show is for you. You know, we also have a conversation that me and a buddy of mine we talked about soundtracks, movie soundtracks, or even just television soundtracks, just soundtracks in general. And then we also had another conversation back in Halloween where we talked about Halloween movies and how they make us feel, what kind of movies we like, and etc. Now, with this one this is a brand new segment, is called If I Would Have Done It. Now, the segment for If I Would Have Done It is, if the movie industry ever gave me a chance to have to rewrite something, this is how I actually would have rewritten it, actually. And it's just kind of like if I was the person that actually got to fix the script or read it and see if there's anything wrong with it, anything I would add. And, if my brain got to dabble on things like this. Now, what makes this kind of unique is that this idea does not fall on just movies that are about movies I hate. Or, it's not just about that, but it will be movies that I hate. It'll be movies that I like. Movies even where they had a good idea. They made a good movie out of it, but maybe, there was way more there that meets the eye, and sometimes that's the reason why films have multiple writers, why certain writers leave and then they get other writers and things like that. That's why there are 2 or 3 or 4 writers. I personally don't think that there should be that many writers on a movie anyway, no more than 2 if you ask me. That's my personal opinion. I feel like this should just be 2 writers. That whole 3, 4, 5 writer stuff, I don't believe in that. I do believe also if like a person came up with a story, but they're not very good in writing the screenplay for it, that they get a writer for it, and that's fine too. 1 or 2. I just, like I said, I don't believe there should be more than 2 writers. I just think that's just overwhelming. Too many people cooking, and it just doesn't work. Time has proven that, but there are times where it doesn't get proven that, and they have a shitload of writers and they make a good movie. Good for them, but it still doesn't mean that it's the best idea to have that many writers. But this segment, like I said, will be just me kind of stretching out my legs. For those who don't know me, I am an aspiring writer. I would maybe someday would love to become a screenplay writer, in the future. And this kind of like I wanted to make a show. I wanted to have a way that it goes, and as I was thinking about what to do to make the show better, to add any new ideas, I said to myself, hey, I write, at least I think I write, I think I'm all right. I think I come up with some good ideas sometimes. I just figured, hey, why don't I stretch my writing wings and, just fly a little bit, throw a segment in there maybe once or twice a month called, If I Would Have Done It. And, just see how it goes, see what people's opinions, if they have one, it'll be great. I would love to hear you think if I have a great idea, if I have a shitty idea. I'll take any criticism. Trust me, I'm not too salty. So back at it. If I would have done it, what this segment is about is, like I said, I pick a movie for the segment, and I flesh it out, and basically it's like if I would have rewritten it, like they gave me the story and they said, you know what, can you fix this before we, put it out and try to make it into a movie? And basically, that's my job. That's what I would try to do. So basically, what I have here is I have my first movie that I would like to talk about, and the first film is the movie The Sixth Sense. Now, The Sixth Sense. Before I even start talking about it, let me give you a little, whatever feelings I have for it before I talk about what changes I would have done. But I hate this movie. I know a lot of people of you do out there. I just think it's very bad. I think it's a very boring movie. I think that the movie sells itself very short to just be a movie with a secret twisted ending. And I feel that was enough for some people to watch and be satisfied with. But if I asked them this, outside of the secret ending, do you remember anything about the movie? And 9 times out of 10, they're telling me no. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the movie was boring. The movie was poorly written. It's not a very fleshed out, good relationship between the people and, the characters that are there. And, before Bruce Willis's character even gets to talk to the little boy, everything else that happens when it doesn't involve the little boy, I think is boring. I think it's underwritten. I think I don't care too much for the characters. Every time you should watch a movie, I feel like you should, believe in them and feel sorry for them if you have to, or cheer for them. I'm a purist. I believe in terms of movie watching that it should just be more than just staring at a screen. It should be able to, act on your emotions and feel a certain type of way when you watch something. So when along comes these certain movies and then you're just watching it and just watching it and just watching it, and then there's nothing really going on, and then all of a sudden something big and amazing happens, a scene or whatever, and they're like, oh, it's the greatest movie ever, and then they just totally forget anything that was like in between that. And I was like, yo, did you not see the same movie as me? This movie sucks. And now that there has this quote unquote awesome ending, now it's just like, oh, okay, that's fine. We can, disregard everything else. You mean the last hour and a half or so you got to disregard and not give a shit about? And I'm like, oh, fuck that. I need to enjoy everything on every aspect, not 5 minutes of it and then say a whole 2-hour movie was awesome because 5 minutes of it was amazing. I don't understand how that works. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to see if I can intrigue you and give you a better movie, but from beginning to end. Okay, so that's going to be my actual kind of thing that I'm going to try to attempt to do to you guys. Okay, so here goes. The very first episode of If I Would Have Done It, The Sixth Sense. This is what I would do. But before we do that, actually, I want to explain the movie for you. The movie centers around a doctor named Dr. Malcolm Crowe. He's a psychiatrist. And what he does is, just helps out people. Now, there we go. We meet in the beginning. We meet a character named Vincent Gray in the bathroom. He's all skinny, which, by the way, that's Donnie Wahlberg, ex-New Kid on the Block, or still New Kid on the Block, whatever you want to put it as. He still performs. But he is stuck in this guy's Dr. Malcolm Crowe's bathroom. And he starts intimidating him, and he starts breaking down and everything like that. And he finds out that he has a gun, and he shoots Bruce Willis's character, Dr. Malcolm Crowe. We think that he pulled through out of it because we saw him in the next scene. He has what we see as recovered character, and in this moment, we find out that he has a very bad relationship with his wife. His wife and the doctor are not talking. She seems sad. He seems sad. He also takes in a character, which is played by Haley Joel Osment, named Cole Sear. his character, he needs a psychiatrist, he needs help, and basically, Bruce Willis's character takes on helping him, and we find out that his problem is that he sees dead people. He's trying to help them out, and la di da di da di. You guys seen this movie, so I'm just gonna go a little bit quick about explaining what this movie is about. So he's trying to help him out. The kid is, he's terrified. He sees dead people. In the meantime, we also see the way that Bruce Willis's character, Dr. Malcolm Crowe, is feeling about the situation, about how his relationship is going with his wife and things like that. And it's just going wrong. And then he sees that she's talking to another man, and he gets jealous, breaks a window. Fast forward a little bit more. Basically, things get a little better, things like that. And towards the end of the film, we find out that the reason why things were going the way that they were going is because Bruce Willis's character, Dr. Malcolm Crowe, was dead all this time. And it's a great ending. I totally get it. It's fun. It's cool. He was dead the whole time. I understand that. But, to me, I when I came out of that, I needed more than that. I needed, the hour and a half or, the whole movie outside of this quote unquote big secret ending, it just didn't do it for me because I wasn't sold on his character before the fact. I wasn't sold on anything else. The only thing that really sold me was the beginning of the movie with Donnie Wahlberg's character. How that was such a big deal. That was such a great scene, telling him that he failed and he didn't do what he didn't get to do what he wanted to do, and then the result of that was him getting shot. Him getting almost killed. Well, we find out that he was killed that time, but you know what I'm saying. Now, if there's anything that I might have left out that you guys feel that I should have said that maybe make it important, I apologize. But I'm going through memory here. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I've never felt the difference. I'm not one of those people that hated something and then later in life say, you know what, it was pretty good. I've never been that type of a viewer. I'm still not that type of a viewer. If I didn't like something before, I'm don't like it. I still don't like it. You know what I mean? Now there are instances where I was like, you know what, I wasn't a big fan of The Matrix, as you heard in the previous episode, but this is where it changed it. Them having a sequel, though a lot of people didn't like it, having a sequel is what, for me, made the movie good. It wasn't something where I rewatched it and then, oh my God, it was always good. It's now that all those questions that I had when the first one came out, I now have an answer because of the sequels. You understand what I'm saying? So it wasn't that type. If basically what I'm saying is Matrix never made sequels, I would still feel that Matrix was not a good movie. That's basically what I'm saying. The sequels is what helped it out. Don't know if maybe a sequel to The Sixth Sense Part 2 would ever change, if The Sixth Sense would be better for me, but I'm inclined to be open if M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong ever decides to make a sequel. But onward to it. Now, let's say that was the script and the movie has not been released. It falls onto my hands, and the writer or co-writer or whatever you want to call him hands me the script and says, what can you do to change this to make it better? In my opinion, because you don't know that until it comes out, but this is what this show is about. You're going to hear my version of The Sixth Sense, or what my version of The Sixth Sense would be, to see if you like it. So it's kind of like a little, it's kind of like a show where you're listening to the movie, so to speak. So enjoy if you're this kind of fan that likes to hear stories like this. I am. That's why I created the show. So hopefully you'll still be there by the time this episode ends. Okay? Hopefully we'll still have a fan, and you won't just be waiting for what the hell did we just watch episodes or Real Talk Rant episodes, if that's your thing. I personally hope that everybody watches everything. So if I would have done it, The Sixth Sense, Lumotional Lou's version, This is what would stay, the beginning, because it's the only part that I really, 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 really liked in this movie. The first act is great, and that just doesn't need to be changed. Now, after the beginning, when Donnie Wahlberg's character Vincent Gray shoots Dr. Malcolm Crowe, after his recovery, because in mind he will recover, we see him recover. He goes back to work. It's been a year or whatever, and he goes back to work. He has no clients. Why? Because his failed patient, who almost killed him, didn't give him a very good reputation. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have any clients. He's now having problems with his wife because he can't find any work. He can't support the family. He can't support anything that's falling on the mortgage payments, bills, whatever. They're in a shit hole basically. And he is Malcolm Crowe is also having problems becoming a psychiatrist again, because now he's dealing with his own problems of failure. So he's still he's still uncomfortable about going back to work. He doesn't feel like he should go back to work. He doesn't feel like he will be worth doing anything good if he goes back to work. Now, onward, we get to meet Lynn Sear, who is the mother of Cole, the character that has the character that sees dead people. He takes this case because nobody else will. I mean, we're talking about a kid who sees dead people. This isn't exactly something that psychiatrists, I don't feel, would be running towards to take on to help this kid with. Now, he agrees because, he needs the job. He doesn't, even though doesn't want to do it, he's not ready. But I guess the only way to be ready is if you jump in. Okay? So he, quote unquote, jumps in. He takes on this client. He visits the kid, right? And the kid gives him the exact same story. I see dead people, this and that. And so he starts to take on this job and starts to see how he can help this child be rid of this quote unquote psychological problem. Now, in the meantime, while this is happening, where he would go home and then he would kind of like take in everything that he learned from the child, but at the same time, he will try to figure out how he can rekindle the relationship that he lost actually, with him and his wife. Talking, starting to make small talk again, try to be open. Starts talking to her about his new work, about his new client, and she's a little bit cold at first, and they're trying to like get there, but basically they're trying to work out. We're seeing Malcolm Crowe try to to try to rekindle his marriage again, try to like help himself be a better husband again, like the way he used to be before he got shot, at first, like I said, it's a little bit weak. It's a little bit cold. It's not going the way that he wants, but he's trying, So we cut back and forth between him and his wife, and then him with Cole. Now, when he goes to see Cole, then we're seeing more stuff. It keeps, digging in. It's a psychological trip where he's telling you stories of things that he's seeing without us actually seeing anything. You know what I mean? We don't know if he's really seeing dead people. That's the part what I'm trying to say. We're trying to keep it on a more like grounded level where here you're seeing this psychiatrist and we're seeing it from his point of view. You understand what I'm saying? Not from Cole's point of view ever. We're seeing it from his point of view, and it leads us to believe if what Cole is saying is really true, or if it's not true. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like we're keeping everything like if it was the way that it would come out if a psychiatrist was listening to this, because this is the way that he sees our stuff. You know what I mean? So back and forth with this. So we see like the psychiatric trip, you know what I mean? The conversations he's having, the stories that Cole is trying to say. And then we cut back to him and his wife again, you know what I mean? Like where he's talking to his wife and things are getting a little better. But then he has that one scene, because there was another scene I really liked that I would like to state, was when Malcolm sees his wife outside of the when he was inside the store or whatever like that, and he gets mad and he throws something to the wall because he's getting upset that his wife is starting to talk to another man, and things like that. So onward to where, like I was saying, is that back to Cole's stuff, the way that he would keep talking to him, like he trying to get this thing off of this child, like this, it's not really happening. You're not really seeing dead people. He starts to come up with exercises to try to help him and things like that. Now, those are the things that would just get more in depth. I'm just trying to give you the ideas, that how I feel that this movie would be better. So he tries to give exercise, seeing, things like what he would do and all this and that. And basically, by the end of this film, we find out that Cole's psychological problem is kind of like a metaphor for Dr. Malcolm Crow's problem. His seeing dead people issue is kind of like saying, hey, Malcolm Crowe, you're dead. Like, you're dead inside, like, how can you revive yourself and come back to the world of the living when you had a near-death experience? You understand what I'm saying? Does that grasp the listener? Is that grasping your mind? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Leave a comment below if you didn't understand it, because I'm more than happy to elaborate. But what I'm saying is that there is a metaphor and there's kind of like a parallel kind of like story going on with Malcolm and Cole, where Cole sees dead people, and basically Malcolm is that quote unquote dead person. And I don't mean that he really died, is that metaphorically he's dead. That's the reason why he's having all these problems, marital problems, communication problems, social problems. After he was shot, it really traumatized him. So basically, we realized that his client ended up helping him. They were like kind of client, Malcolm was the doctor and Cole was the client, and Cole was the doctor and Malcolm was the client at the same time. That's the real kind of quote unquote twist. If you ask me, that's my preferred twist. You make sure that you make a promising story between Malcolm and his wife, Cole and Malcolm. You know what I mean? These things, I feel, when you're watching a movie, matter. You're supposed to care about everything, mostly everything that's in a movie, at least the actual characters and the story and the plot and all that stuff. But that is what I feel would actually work. If we would have gotten a movie, or if we could have gotten a movie where we're watching Malcolm play out his life, and we're watching him in his public life where he's trying to help Cole, and then we're seeing his private life where he's trying to help himself. We realize that he keeps getting better because of the communication skills that he's gaining from Cole's character. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I mean about that being a metaphorical life of, metaphorical issue that Cole is just secretly didn't even realize that he helped out Dr. Malcolm Crowe with his issues. And at the end of the movie, we find out that he was able to rekindle the fire with his wife. Everything just seemed to be better. He gave her a really awesome speech about how, he's changed, and how she doesn't have to he doesn't have to worry about getting divorced, and how she doesn't have to leave or seek another man. And then we find out that she was actually never seeing another man, or was never going to go to another man. Another twist. You know what I mean? That guy was just probably, co-worker or something like that. That's probably the way I do it. Or he was a customer, I should say, because she was the owner of a store, or she was owning the store, if I remember correctly. Help me out here. But I do remember her being in a store, and then him getting all pissed off and throwing something in the window, and everybody kind of stared and got all startled and shit. But that's it makes him happy. There was never any, or maybe there was, either way it would work, where she was almost leaving, but then didn't leave because he was able to save it in the 12th hour, things like that. That works too. All these things are better ideas that I feel that The Sixth Sense had. Instead of waiting around about when this kid is going to see some dead people. What if it was a movie where he didn't see dead people? Would it have been good? No, it wouldn't have. It's like I said, like I don't think anybody knows or remembers that movie more than I do. And I remember barely, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember that it impacted me so much that it was just so bad, to me, so, if you can, see, is this a better movie for you, or would you have been intrigued with a story between Malcolm and his wife, and then Malcolm with Cole, and how they're leaving the movies kind of parallel to each other to like, help Malcolm. Malcolm is trying to help Cole while Cole is helping Malcolm without Malcolm even realizing that he was helping him. That's what I feel there's a real story in there. And then just make sure you finesse it with great dialogue, because I would make sure that I would finesse it with great dialogue, great conversations, great, interactions between characters, because that's how you're supposed to make a good movie. Is you don't build up something mediocre to have a twisted ending that everybody could just be like, oh my God, that was so amazing. The movie is terrible anyway, but the ending is so good. I don't care for that. You know what I mean? That's just not my thing. It just needs to be all good for me. You know what I mean? Like, not amazing entirely, you know what I mean? But it's got to at least capture my fucking attention for the majority of the fucking thing. At least 95%. Sorry, I have to be happy. I have to be at least happy 95% of the time in order for me, like, yeah, man. But there are movies that are under that, like, 70s, or, when it comes to a rating system, 70s, 80s, maybe a couple of 60s. But for the most part, I gotta like almost everything what's going on. You know what I mean? In order for me to actually tell you that you had a good movie or not. I'm not going to say there like, oh God, that movie was so good. But that, that one scene was just amazing. Everything else is kind of slow. Like, I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? But hey, that's your opinion. If 5 minutes of a movie can help you sit through 2 hours of it, go right ahead, just to wait for the last 5 minutes of it. Now, this is actually what's pretty freaking cool not cool. This is the part that may or may not, I still don't really know if I really, it's up to you. I'll leave it to the listeners whether or not you agree to this part or want to keep this part. Now, at the very end, we would get a quote unquote twisted ending on whether or not the kid really did see dead people. Maybe he didn't. But I don't think that would make the movie any lesser. Meaning the idea that I came up with any lesser of a movie. Now, if they wanted to, say if the writing people said, no, you gotta have a secret ending, you gotta have a secret ending. My secret ending was that he did see dead people, and the fucked up part is that he never really got any help to rid of that, because how do you get rid of dead people syndrome? Of seeing dead people syndrome? That's not something that goes away. I think the real horror is the fact that he doesn't get it taken away. You know what I mean? Because people, when it comes to horror, it is my favorite genre of all time. And it's not that I believe in twisted, horrible endings. It's just that sometimes in a movie like this, if you want to keep something like so horrific like that, that's the real horror. A kid that doesn't get to fucking solve his problems yet Malcolm Crowe is totally fine. He has his wife back, he has his life back. But here we got Cole, who maybe or may not still bear with the fact that he's seeing dead people or not. You know what I mean? So maybe he never saw dead people. That's the version that you could keep if you want. Or maybe he saw dead people, but he never got it taken away or fixed. He never got that problem fixed. So that's, that I will leave to you, the listener, which ending you like the most. But those are the two endings, because I know that it was a twisted ending. And I was like, you know what? I got to come up with one, either or. So I gave you both. 1, no dead people. 2, there was dead people. And the fucked up part is that he doesn't get that cured. The seeing of dead people doesn't cure. And we get some eerie scenes and shit. Maybe that one with the guy that got the bullet, the kid that got the bullet, the shot blown off in the head. You get to see that before credits. Anyway, we are done with this segment. This is the very first episode of If I Would Have Done It, The Sixth Sense. Let me know what you guys thought. Comment, like, share at What the Hell Did We Just Watch? You can do that on the YouTube channel. You can do that on the SoundCloud. What the hell did we just watch? You can search that. You can also follow me on Facebook.com/WhatTheHellPcast, Instagram.com/WhatTheHellPcast, Twitter.com/TheHellPcast. And like I said, you can do YouTube, you can do SoundCloud, you can comment, like, share, subscribe, whatever you need to do. Just follow this, and we'll make sure that I will make it very relevant for you, and I will answer any questions you got, especially with this segment, or any segment for that matter. I'm keen to do so anyway. But also, I got to do this one thing. Shirts, we got all kinds of shirts. We got pink shirts, white shirts, pink shirts. I said pink shirts. We got all kinds of shirts. We got the podcast logo t-shirt. You can have one as well for $15. You can get one. Whatthehellpcast@yahoo.com. You can search for me right there, and you can email me, and I will give you the information on how you can get the What the Hell Pcast logo shirt. Okay? Now, with that, I only have to say, and you can say with me, and nobody's here. This is Lumotional Lou. Peace out, Joe.